Nigerian senators of northern extraction have urged West African leaders to lift the sanctions imposed on Niger Republic following the military coup in that country. Now, the heads of state of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in July imposed sanctions on Niger Republic after coupists ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. Now, the ECOWAS sanctions include the suspension of all commercial transactions with Niger. Nigeria also cut power supply with Niger, while Ivory Coast suspended imports and exports. Now, the senators, after a meeting yesterday at the National Assembly, urged the West African leaders to lift the sanctions. They urged the Niger junta to release the ousted President Mohamed Bazoum and draw a transition timeline that was not more than 2 years. The lawmakers, in a communique read by Senator Abdul Ningi, disclosed that the Northern Senator caucus, in strong terms, condemned the military intervention in democratic spaces in some West African sub-regions. And of course, to discuss this, we are joined by Henry Ekine, legal advisor, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. He joins in from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure to be on your platform.
All right, great. Now, what specific economic impact have the sanctions by ECOWAS on Niger Republic had, particularly when it comes to the standard of living there and also the benefits when it comes to the citizens?
Yes, at every point when sanctions are made against any state, there are economic effects of those sanctions. And particularly with respect to Niger, it's no doubt that production is affected, livelihood is affected, income levels and employment are affected, but most fundamentally with respect to the objective of ECOWAS is trade and exchange. So trade has been affected. The level and volume of trade between and amongst members of the community with respect to Niger, that is goods and services that are usually exchanged between Niger and other members of the economic community of West African states that trades with Niger. So definitely and without doubt, the volume of trade will be affected because trade isn't entering the state of Niger, and production would have been affected in some level. Of course, even income levels will drop because the Nigerians who would have been involved in one economic activity or the other with respect to these economic activities going on amongst the community members, and then particularly dealing in Niger, would have been affected. Then at the macro level, the economic hardship and standards of living of the people in Niger and even in neighboring communities and states around Niger would be affected adversely. And that's why we hear now the reports of hardship, rising poverty, and economic challenges as drop in income, loss in income, and even loss in employment and employment opportunities. So these are direct economic implications with the sanction and, of course, the very harsh and direct sanctions that have been pronounced and claimed by the Economic Community of West African States against Niger, and particularly against the junta in power right now in Niger.
We understand that prior to the coup, Nigeria has very strong economic relations with Niger. But how significant will you say the involvement of these Nigerian senators, particularly those of northern extraction, in urging the lifting of the sanctions on that particular nation? What in terms do you foresee as regards the impact of their request and also the cascading implications within the regional body?
Nigeria has shared and exchanging missions, and then even in trade and distribution and communication and exchange, and in social relations. So when one of these two closely related and neighboring countries is hit by this kind of economic hardship or sanction, there will be some effect to the other. So certainly the neighboring states of the Nigerian nation, that is the closest Nigerian states to Niger, have direct effect of some of these sanctions. So that justified the involvement of the senators from the northern extraction in Nigeria and then appealing to the authorities of the community and of course the Nigerian state to intervene in terms of probably softening the effect of this
another key issue.
And that significance of that involvement would be, we mean that it will deepen the integration and the relationship between Nigeria and Niger. Niger will see Nigeria continuously, of course, the role that Nigeria has played and continue to play in diplomatic relations, in economic relations, and other regards with regards to Niger. So this involvement and direct involvement by the Nigerian senators with this call for likely suspending or lifting the sanction will deepen the cooperation and the integration between Nigeria and Niger, not undermining the direct relationship that exists between the peoples of Nigeria and the peoples of Niger in terms of the closeness that these two countries and the borders they share. So I think this deliberate intervention by the senators is one that does not only reflect how close we are as two nations in the community, but the direct economic relationship between Nigeria and Niger. And then if this is given any effect, then of course it will boost economic opportunities and exchange and trade and relationship between the two countries.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Henry Ekine, legal advisor, Committee for Defense of Human Rights, who of course joining in from Port Harcourt in Nigeria. Once again, thank you.